Welcome to the fourth episode of our Enlightening series, where today we're going to delve into the intriguing world of nutrigenomics. This episode promises to shed light on how our genetics can influence our nutritional needs and health. Joining us today is going to be Dr. Abdel Alkhalouf, who is the co-founder of the International Holistic Health Alliance. He is the Director of Science and Research, and he is going to be interviewing Val Prisecaru, who is our expert in nutrigenomics. So without further ado, I welcome you to listen to the latest episode of our QuadCast.
Well, hello, Val.
Hi, Abdel. How are you?
Good. And I started with Val, and I would love for you to spell your last name, and I'll do the same. I know we have lovely last names, both of us.
That's right. So my last name is Prisecaru. It's pronounced Prisecaru. It's spelled like the word price with an S, Prise, and then car, Car, and then the letter U.
Oh, that's nice. You know, I used to teach at a university, and that was always a struggle for my students. And I'm like, whatever you say, professor, whatever, it's going to be my name. You know, I know it's the only weird name at the college at that time. So my last name is Alkhalouf, you know, and there is an H behind the K, and it should be Alkhalouf, but I know it's not easy. So I go by, you know, Dr. Alkhalouf. Well, Val, thank you for being here today with us. At the IHHA, we do this broadcast with experts from the field. Natural health, they call us alternative medicine, they call us complementary medicine, but I think we're a mainstream health coaches, and we're trying to do the best for our clients and patients, minimizing any side effects. Well, again, welcome to the broadcast with the IHHA. We're so happy to have you here, and let's start by get to know you more. So please tell me more about you, Val. What brought you to this field? What's your background?
Well, I've always been interested ever since I was a teenager, I believe, in health and wellness, and I had some issues growing up, a lot of irritable bowel syndrome type issues, although back in the 80s, they didn't really use that terminology. I had chronic constipation, acne, inability to put on muscle from, training and sports. And I didn't really like it. I said, wait a minute, something's wrong. What exactly is wrong with me? And I also had some ADHD issues. So when I finished up high school and got into college, I decided to get a little bit more serious. I ended up switching my majors in college. I was doing aerospace engineering. After a couple of years, I was thinking, just forget about that. Let's get into health and wellness. This is where my passion is. So I got into health and wellness. Initially, I was doing biological anthropology, trying to get to the history of humanity as it relates to wellness and disease. Eventually, I ended up getting a bachelor's and master's in human nutrition. I moved from California to Illinois because I just didn't like really awesome weather. I just wanted a cold, flat, glyphosate-filled, vast land full of wheat and corn and lots of lectins. So I almost got a PhD. I left early. I am probably going to go back and finish up with some doctorate in the next few years. But that was years ago. I went into industry. I went into the clinical space doing nutritionist, health coaching, health and wellness. I started doing that in 1999. I was very young, wet behind the ears, and I still feel I have so much to learn. At this point, every time I look up anything, any field, any subclinical aspect of anything, I'm like, we're just touching the surface. This is like the beginning of real science and data. It used to be we didn't have a lot of data points, right? So everybody was inferring, like Aristotle, right? You just try to guess everything without data.
Yes.
Now we're starting to get a pretty significant amount of data. In fact, there's so much data nowadays that the data is no longer like the big issue. Although in some aspects, we could use some more, but it's more like what you do with it. So I started working with a friend of mine back in 2014, Dr. Peter Diadamo, who works at Datapunk Bioinformatics. Of course, he is the original inventor, he and his dad, of the blood type diet. Of course, that's gone through many revisions over the years and a lot of genetics added to it, other genetics besides the ABO locus. So in 2015, a year later, he wrote a program called Opus 23. It was like almost an AI-based revolutionary nutrigenomics analysis toolkit. And I was working with him here and there on some little projects. Eventually, he convinced me to go out to Connecticut and actually get trained in the program. So I did that in 2018, and I became the program's #1 contributor and lead editor and started working with him on it. Then I started teaching people how to use that program and other nutrigenomics programs for John Patrick University. It's an online university, accredited university based in Indiana, but I mean, it's online. So the location doesn't matter too much. And I became the program director for Nutrigenomics and assembled different courses and certifications for Nutrigenomics. After that, or concurrently, I started working with Self-Decode, which is an online nutrigenomics platform, direct to consumer, but they're also getting into the clinical space. And I designed a webinar training series for them and try to help them troubleshoot and develop their algorithms, protocols, etc. After that, I started working with a couple other outfits, one of which is Nutrigenomics. I was the senior director of R&D for Nutrigenomics for a while, back in 2022, at the beginning of last year. And now I am working as a in-house genomics expert, clinical support specialist for Designs for Health, which is one of the leading nutrigenomics companies. I'm sorry, nutraceutical companies in the U.S. But they also have, they've expanded to Australia and some other countries as well. And unlike other nutraceutical companies, clinical ones, except for maybe Thorne, I guess they and Thorne are the only ones who are actually putting out tests, like high-level tests. What I would say is the test that Designs for Health launched in the last few months are totally revolutionary. They're called the Spotlight series, Genomic Spotlight, Metabolomic Spotlight, and GI Spotlight. Of course, it's the stool test, and the metabolomics, the urine test. So with these steps, the company has been just way, way ahead of its time, even from the get-go. And now it's just on overdrive. So I'm helping them develop, further refine, add to, etc. So in addition to that, I have a private practice in Central Illinois. So I'm seeing people doing a high-level health coaching, incorporating multi-omics. So for example, someone's having osteoporosis issues. So the question is, one of my patients, a new patient, was asking me, what can I do to help? So we ran a genomic panel on it, and this lady has osteoporosis genetics. like she's genetically prone to lower bone density. And for some people, this is because of just general genetics, inability to absorb vitamin D combined with maybe inability to absorb calcium, vitamin K, different genetic variants that affect osteoclast, osteoblast activity. Some people just have a little bit weaker bones. Others, their problems are in other domains, not bone health. So when you know where the problem is, like what genes are affected, what genes have low activity, then you're able to target those specific genes and not worry about other issues where maybe the person doesn't have any problems in. So like someone, oh, I have heart health problems. Well, what kind of heart health problems? There are many different types of heart health issues, right? To start, you can have glycocalyx issues. Maybe you have inability to block different bacteria. The body makes all types of proteins like MBL2, mannose binding lectin, all these different compounds to attach to or even tag anything that looks like a virus, bacteria, amoeba, parasite, whatever in the body. And so some people, maybe they have the low activity variants, right? Low activity versions of those proteins. So if you know what the problem is, then you can solve it fairly easily. Whereas before it was kind of like a crapshoot, and you're blindfolded and trying to pin the tail on the donkey blindfolded. Whereas now we can see.
Yeah. No, I like. So this is a music to my ears. In 2012, I moved from being a university professor to work with the holistic, medicine field, and everything was new to me. After doing 3 degrees, in nursing science and oncology nursing, and being in school for 12 years and traveling for conferences, I couldn't say the word chiropractor because I never got exposed to that word. I'm like, what is that? Is it a massage therapist? Is it? And then I moved to this field and I start seeing different things. Resisted at the beginning because I did not hear this nice sophisticated language you're speaking now. Informatics, AI, evidence base. You just mentioned data and having those tests in order to come up with an impression and point directly to the problem and solve it. This is really important. We were really scattered all over the place, but now I think, Val, now we need to go back to finish your PhD because the way of thinking is different, and we need more people with PhDs that they have this good mentality to raise the bar for holistic, medicine and holistic healthcare. Amazing. So, you guys doing those blood type, tests, and I want to make sure that I mention this. The International Holistic Health Alliance main goal is to be a platform that every client and everybody in need in this country can get the information and get access to good healthcare. So this is why we ask directly, Val, if somebody needs to do those tests that Design for Health, came up with, how do they do that? How do I get access to those amazing tests?
So in order to get access, you would have to find a practitioner who utilizes that particular platform. So if someone has Designs for Health, they can easily order the tests and appropriately suggest food, supplement, and lifestyle choices. Of course, the tests are recommending the Designs for Health supplements because they paid for the tests. But yeah, that's what they would have to do. So like if someone is in Central Illinois, I'm the only one over there. So they would be happy to meet with me. If someone is in other areas, I'd be happy to recommend them to the appropriate location, or the patient or practitioner can easily go to designsforhealth.com to get that information. And then for the genomic, a little bit more advanced training and information, they would have to go to datapunk.net, and datapunk.net is the owner of the Opus 23 platform. And then the main genetic test for them is the same company that does the GI map stool testing, Diagnostic Solutions Lab. So they'd have to get an account there. So there's really, two or three places that a practitioner would have to register and get an account with, which is easy to do.
Okay, nice. I'm going to go back and ask you about basic question. When people know that you're an R&D for nutraceutical company, vitamins, dietary supplements. I'm sure you meet people on daily basis. The minute they know your background, they start asking the basic question: can you recommend a good vitamin? What a good supplement or vitamin D3 can I take? Can you tell me a name of it? And then you go to the aisles in big stores where they have dietary supplements on the shelves. You go and you always see this middle-aged lady doing this, looking at all those supplements, and she doesn't know what to do. And it's fun for me just to go and say, hey, do you need help? I don't work here, but I know a little bit about vitamins and supplements, And then they're like, yeah, what's a good one that I can take? People under the impression that I have to take supplements. They keep saying, can you send me some samples? Samples of what? Which supplement? Which vitamin? So we know that those amazing products and supplements you help to develop have great value in them. And we have the saying, the more is the merrier. Is it the case when it comes to supplements? And if I ask you today, how do you define a good supplement versus not good supplement? What would
I
you
understand.
answer?
So let's try to answer the first one first. So what's a good supplement? Somebody wants to buy whatever, vitamin D, multivitamin, some supplement for cardiovascular, high blood pressure. A lot of people want to reduce their blood sugar, so they have one that maybe helps with diabetes. So what's a good supplement? The answer is it depends on the person. So everything is personalized. Somebody may have drastically increased vitamin B6 requirements, or maybe they have increased, but they're not able to utilize it properly. So they may need the higher activity form, P5P. There's all these there's regular vitamins, and then there's like the methylated or the better ones. Of course, that. So the question is complicated, but the simple answer is it's personalized. You kind of need to go by symptoms, genomics, microbiome, metabolomic, OAT results if you have different organic acid testing, and of course it also helps just to have standard blood labs, CBC, CMP, thyroid, adrenal, all that stuff. Would be nice to have that. If you tie those things in, I don't really like to tell people, hey, let's just do genomic testing and that's the answer to everything. It's not. That just gives you odds of having something or having an issue, what to do if you have this variant or that variant. Symptoms are really like the number one thing, right? So if someone is not having symptoms and their blood labs are not too bad, then you can throw out the other omics out the window for now and just focus on health maintenance. Supplements, usually if it's like, you go to Walmart, a lot of those are maybe made in certain countries. Maybe they don't have very stringent quality control. If they don't pass QC, they still pass QC. Heavy metals, chemicals, pesticides, glyphosate, all sorts of things you can find in the supplements. The problem is when you eat some food, like, pick anything, spinach, right? Spinach is the majority of it is water, right? It's in all the cells. The cell walls are trapping the water. But if you have spinach extract or any kind of herb, think about all the different botanicals out there. These are really concentrated, right? They are not, 80% water or 90% water. They are, 12% water, very, very dehydrated. Some of them close to zero. So you're concentrating the pesticides and the chemicals too. People don't realize that. So like when people go buy herbs for cooking, right? You want to make mom a really nice dish, right? Those herbs, they really need to be organic because one, you're concentrating chemicals and pesticides. And two, even if it's organic, it still has chemicals and pesticides. I think there was this big study in Europe where they banned glyphosate, and the glyphosate levels in non-organic was like, I don't remember, like 123, I think it was parts per billion something. Anyway, so then the organic ones were 81. So yeah, it was 40% less, but it's not like you're eliminating it. It's going to take a couple of, generations to get rid of some of these things. It's not going to be as bad as, plutonium, right? I don't know how long the half-life is, 30,000 years, but it's going to take a little while to get rid of it. And it's fine. We're going to wait and we're going to get rid of it. And this planet's going to be great.
That brings me to the next question. But before, can you simply define nutrigenomics to our audience?
Sure. So genetics and genomics are a little different. Genetics is looking at one gene, one SNP, see how it affects things. Genomics is looking at, many different genes and SNPs and how it affects health, etc. So nutrigenomics is the effect of nutrition on genomics, the effect of genomics on nutrition, and of course, other things like lifestyle, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So as far as I am concerned, nutrigenomics is when you look at a lab result, you say, oh, okay, blood sugar is high. Let's see what the genetics says, right? Or the genomics. Somebody comes in, Val, my brother just got diagnosed with cancer, right? So now let's run some cancer, information. Maybe she wants to do, they have like a lot of these cancer tests, right? To see what circulating antigens, and there's different compounds in the blood that are clinically associated with cancer development. So we can look at that. And also there's glycomics, which not a lot of people are looking at. So now we get into, you can actually inhibit the growth of many cancer cells by giving certain signals. These signals can happen in many ways. One of the signals is a TF antigen, Thomson-Friedenreich antigen. It's like a receptor that's normally hidden, but when a cell becomes cancerous, it's displayed on the surface. So there's ways to increase your TF antibody levels for some people. So there's like these little strange high-tech, kind of like biohacking methods for improving things. And Nutrigenomics helps with that. It helps with determining what supplements are better for you. It helps with or maybe you don't need any, but usually in this day and age, that's more the exception than the rule. Determines what foods are better for you. Lifestyle changes, exercise, meditation. It can maybe help recommend, help point somebody in which direction to go if they're not really sure what the problem is. I feel horrible. Well, there's no horrible disease. What is it, right? Oh, I'm always tired. Okay, well, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, but sometimes it's something else, right? So you have to I'm in a lot of pain. Well, maybe the person just has high pain sensitivity genetics, or maybe there's something wrong. So then you have to it becomes like a very big clinical decision tree that Nutrigenomics can help the clinician navigate.
Nice. This is why you kept saying personalized. When I asked you the question of what a good supplement will be, how do we pick our supplements, you highlighted the word personalized. You know what? The industry for dietary supplements moved from being, I think, don't quote me for the numbers, 6.5 billion, and now it's more than $20 billion. That tells me people are paying and investing a lot of money on dietary supplements, on vitamins, on herbs, on phenolics, on homeopathics. You know what? It's worth it. It's worth it for us to go and ask the expert at some point before we start, investing thousands of dollars in those good products. Don't get me wrong, but it's worth it to go to people like Tracy or Starla or Dr. Essen or Val or biofeedback, your chiropractor, anybody in the holistic medicine, anybody who can, speak that language of what a good product or supplement, or what do I need exactly, instead of spending all this money on commercials and on commercialized products that I don't really need, or maybe if I take, I'm not going to absorb well, so there is no point of taking it. Or even if I buy them and absorb them, they're not available in my blood. They're not bioavailable enough for me to benefit from. Unfortunately, the market of dietary supplements is cornered by countries like China, where they control more than half of those supplements. And basic vitamins, we don't know if they're natural or synthetic vitamins. There was a study from University of California, and they said that 97% of the products in the market are mislabeled. So we do not really know that what's written on the label is exactly inside. And we don't know the source of those things, even if they're inside. We don't know the source of them. Right. We don't know how good are they for our clients and patients. So yes, I like the word personalized. If I'm taking a message from today's discussion with you, Val, is invest some money in seeing somebody who's specialized in this field before you spend all this money on those, supplements and products.
Yeah, I totally agree. I wish more people. You should definitely keep that as a snippet, because that was really great. That should be like the 1 minute and 2 minute explanation of how things really are by Dr. Alkhalouf. I like it.
You did good with my last name. Appreciate it.
No problem.
No, go ahead, please, Val.
So I would tell people it's probably a good idea not to just get whatever supplement from Walmart just because of the quality, so many mislabelings. and then people want to get it from Amazon. Look, if you get it from Amazon, don't just get it from some person, because a lot of those are fake. They're literally fake supplements out there, a decent percentage. And having worked with multiple nutraceutical companies, I can tell you without a doubt that every nutraceutical company that you have heard that's reputable literally has a team trying to track down and even buy back fake supplements so consumers don't get them. And then it looks bad on the company, which is not even fair. And sometimes the supplements are filled with similar products which are inferior. And other times they're filled with just nothing, calcium carbonate, just chalk, or just some vitamin C, or just some real cheap alternative. Like, that's not even what it says. So I urge people to get clinical grade quality supplements. And if they don't like the company I'm working with, Designs for Health, then they can pick another company. There's a good dozen companies out there that are clinical grade. They do their job, and make sure you're actually getting what you're trying to get. It's like that with anything. You're going to pay. You think you're not going to pay, but you're going to end up paying. So if you take supplements, you're going to pay. If you take good supplements, maybe you're going to pay now and avoid things later. If you take low quality, you'll probably end up paying later, right? So it's just a personal choice. It depends on the person, their symptoms, how they feel about wellness. Are they very, do they have an agenda? Some people, they just kind of go through life like a little butterfly, not really having an agenda. Other people, they're really driven. Like, for example, I used to just kind of go through life, right? I knew there was an agenda, but I didn't really like develop it until maybe years ago. I got a lot more serious, and I realized, okay, now I actually have an agenda. So to help people, but everyone can say that, right? But if you're living, breathing something, then it's a lot different than just casually. So that was like a metamorphosis, like a change that happens, and that's a change that happens in the lives of many people, right? So some people, they're lost, they come to God, they're having problems, they come back to their home communities. It's a matter of going out there and then realizing that you should be going back to where you were before, right? So it's like a rubber band.
Yeah, no, I like it. So that's a snippet from you, Val, today. It's like, be proactive instead of being reactive. When we have a problem or we have a sickness or a disease, we started thinking, oh, I'm going to start changing my life. I'm going to do this and that and exercise and watch what I'm eating. The stomach is the house of the disease. We have this saying, so you cannot put anything in that stomach. You have to be picky. And we know that food is medicine. So before you get to a point that you react to a symptom or a disease, be proactive and be picky about what you put in that mouth, go into your stomach. I really appreciate that. We really appreciate your time. And before we leave you, I really want, how would people access to your clinic? Can you give us like a contact information, even for our practitioners that they're going to be listening and they might use that for their clients and patients?
Oh, sure. So we're actually changing the website a little bit, but I can give you my work email and the phone number for anyone who wants to get in touch. So the email is genetic well-being, like, your well-being at gmail.com, genetic well-being at gmail. And then the main number for the telehealth clinic, but also locally in central Illinois, is area code 217-714-6020.
Thank you so much for sharing this information for us. And thank you for, with your busy schedule, with all the amazing things you do. thank you for finding this time to be with the IHHA members
No
and,
problem.
share your amazing experiences with us.
And just to leave you with this one interesting snippet, the last 4 months, I developed a genomic-based thyroid protocol.
Wow.
So if someone's having like a high thyroid, low thyroid, non-thyroid disease, like the thyroid levels are, T3, T4 are okay, but there's other problems. I've spent some time kind of looking into the genomics of that and got a little bit down the road on it. So if anyone needs some help with that, I'd be happy to point them in the right direction.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you for all this effort. Hope we have a million people like you, doing what you're doing to change, just change the quality of life for people and, alleviate the suffering um, and on this earth. Thank you so much, Val. Appreciate you again. And looking forward to invite you again for more interesting topics.
It would be a pleasure. It was great to meet you.
Great to meet you too. Thanks, Val. Have a great day. Thanks.
Bye.
As we conclude, we'd like to remind you that the information presented in this podcast is for educational purposes only and should not be considered diagnostic. It's important to understand that our content is not intended as medical advice. The statements made during this podcast have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. Additionally, the content and attachments shared are not designed to treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any disease. For any health-related concerns or conditions, we strongly advise consulting with your medical doctor for proper diagnosis and recommendations. Your health is important, and professional medical advice should always be sought for your specific circumstances.